Hello, everybody. Welcome to the third episode of Cartoon Kilowatt. And to my right, we have T. Wells.
T. Wells.
And to my left, we have Stray.
Stray!
At the beginning of the last episode, we did a little quick review of Hillbilly Bears. But if we were not doing that, we would have started something else. From here on out, we will use the first few moments of the episode to promote something that we enjoy, whether it is a cartoon or not. In today's case, I believe T. Wells has something he would like to promote.
It's pretty high up on the charts, actually.
Am I supposed to talk about Boku no Hero Academia right now?
Yes.
Okay, you didn't go over it with me.
It was
I'm
kind
not
of
your dad.
obvious what he wanted you to do.
So yeah, Boku no Hero Academia is a new Japanese animated show
Those
coming
Chinese
out
cartoons?
in Japan. Yeah, those Chinese cartoons coming out in Japan. Don't know when it's coming out, but it's getting animated. It's about a world. It's about a world where people accept mutants as superheroes in Xavier School for Kids in Japan. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Like, people have superpowers. The main protagonist doesn't have superpowers. His mom has superpowers, but he has nothing. Until he meets a superhero, it passes down his powers to him. And he has to learn and get used to this power he was not born with as he becomes a superhero and goes to school to superheroes.
Okay.
He has to deal with his asshole friend.
Yes. We also have to say, his mentor is the #1 superhero in Japan.
One Punch Man?
The other #1 superhero.
One Punch Man does not count right now.
No, Two Punch Man.
Well, actually, he is kind of a One Punch Man. Have you seen him smash something?
I know, all of his attacks are in other states.
Yes.
You don't want to see the Alabama.
Oh no.
Wasn't that one of the first ones he does?
I don't fucking know.
I don't even remember. I remember Delaware was in there.
So he's American.
We don't know he's blonde.
In Japan, that can mean anything.
Yeah, he's blonde and... Yeah, honestly, that's all we know.
Well, you heard it here. Boku no
Hero.
Academia.
I was about to put in no Pico in there.
Fuck you. or the English translation, because it's also like the manga's also licensed by Viz. My Hero Academia.
Alright, My Hero Academia, you can find it at your local comic shop at the DC section.
Because it feels very much so like a DC series.
So today, the cartoon of choice that we are about to reveal is Snap, Stray. Snap! Mr. Magoo.
AKA Old White Man Doesn't Die.
What?
AKA Old White Man Doesn't Die.
Oh. This Magoo is about a blind man who gets into trouble because he's blind.
He can kind of see. He can see with glasses.
Just has horrible vision.
Yeah, apparently he just refuses to wear glasses.
He just sees geometric shapes.
Yeah, he just see blobs.
Okay, so you guys are going to have to remind me which episode goes where here, because these blend together very, very, very much.
First one, we're not counting little in-betweens, but first one is...
Military Magoo.
Okay. Yeah, military Magoo.
So he basically walks into a military recruiting place
thinking it's a store for men.
Yes.
Because they had those back there.
Yeah.
Like, what do you get out of store for men? Just men stuff.
Yeah.
Ties,
like
canes.
Suits.
Pretty much men's warehouse.
Yeah. But more classy and with an actual tailor.
Yeah.
So the first question you're asking yourself is, why is this man who can't see, he can't read,
Not a police
why is he by himself?
Was a policeman.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Thought a street sign was a policeman. That's the very first thing he does.
Yeah.
He sees it's blue.
Why is he alone? Someone should be watching this man.
His mother has more sense than him.
Why is his mother alive?
Yeah. How old is this guy? And how old is his mother? And how old is his uncle?
Immortal. They are immortals.
That's why Magoo has been able to survive this whole time.
That's exactly why. Because he goes in here and the military complex, the recruiter, he's desperate.
Yes.
Because his, I guess the sergeant's, I don't know what this guy's supposed to be. He's supposed to be a colonel or something? I don't know what he's doing there.
A high-ranking official.
A higher ranking than a colonel is telling him, find one more recruit to meet our quota this month, or you're going to be peeling potatoes.
Yes.
So he picks Mr. Magoo. He picks an old...
Mr. Magoo just walks in there, and he's like, yes.
He's like, yeah.
Do you want to work for your country?
You can't really think about sending this man to war. There's not one good reason.
I think they could have sent him in like Joker in Full Metal Jacket.
I have never watched Full Metal Jacket.
Really? He was a military journalist.
You want a blind man to be a military journalist?
They didn't know he was blind.
Okay, so he goes in here, right? He picks up the guns. First of all, guns would not be in a place like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
A recruiting office, you can have loaded guns?
Yeah. Well, I don't think he picks up the guns first.
He does. Well, it's not the first thing he does, but
yeah,
I don't have everything listed by order. Just the things that impacted me.
He see the doctor is doing physical on him, and he thinks he's Taylor.
Yes. And
then he picks up the guns.
He thinks it's a walking stick.
Yes.
And he fires his guns all over the place. Manages somehow not to kill himself.
Oh yeah.
Manages not to kill anybody.
He meets the higher ranking officer, thinks he's the guy who owns the place, because he knows he thinks he's the owner of the store he thinks he's at. He gets the guns, starts shooting it around. All I remember is the doctor goes into a trash can to hide, and that's all I remember.
People hide.
It should be noted that
cabinet.
Mr. Magoo is a wealthy individual with connections.
He has more connections. He's old. He is old money.
He is very old money at this point.
There's a part where he's sniffing a grenade.
Yes.
Talking about getting the ladies. Like, ladies want him.
Yeah, he thinks it's a cologne.
Yeah.
Like, if he saw... He probably thinks fire hydrants are ladies at this point. He probably sleeps with fire hydrants.
Mm-hmm.
And, against their will, and he'll say, but she wanted it. And he'll get away with it.
And also, he was asking for it. Oh my god, I'm going to get so many comments about that.
The fire hydrant sues him.
I'm going to get...
But she won't get it, but it won't win, because A, it's a fire hydrant, B, it's a woman in the 1950s.
Fantastic. basically, he kind of just walks out of the place, really.
No trouble at all. Apparently.
Well, actually, no. They gave him a sticker that says "not for the military" or something.
Yeah, we don't see that happen though.
Yeah, until the end.
Someone pays them off probably. Like, don't mention this.
Like with this short, my initial impression is, first, this is really going to be a one joke cartoon.
Yeah,
it's series. It's a one joke series.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's not good.
That's.
But also, this is very tame, and it didn't have a lot of energy to it.
Yeah, but for me, I'm just going to say it now. This isn't. It might have been because I was watching this right after Captain Planet. This was not that bad. Like, for a one-joke cartoon, it's at least kind of creative with what they give him to mistake for other objects.
I wish I was there with you, but I'm not.
I know.
They
could get more creative with this.
Yes.
No, they might in the later episodes, but we only saw like these first six shorts
on this collection.
And from this collection, and they're probably not like in chronological release order because, I said, the first one came out like in 1949.
I think the series that we watch might be in some order because, as you find, they do introduce characters. This is the first episode we watch, and he's by himself. In the second episode, we see his uncle.
And also, I know we said we weren't going to talk about the in-between bits, but we also get to meet the uncle's butler in the in-between bit trying to trap Magoo.
Yeah, but without context of the actual episode that happens next, you're like, what is this? So, the second episode is called Based on Balls. Let that sink in. And there's Mr. Magoo's uncle, who's older than Mr. Magoo somehow.
Yes.
Hears that Mr. Magoo wants to take this location and turn it into a baseball field. And Mr. Magoo's uncle's like, we can't have this. So he sends his butler to deal with it. This is very important, what I'm about to say. He did not tell his butler to kill his nephew.
He told him to stop him.
But that's all his butler does.
Yes.
Is try to kill Mr. Magoo.
Yep.
Is he crazy? Was he raised by Pa Bear? Seems like a very Pa Bear thing.
It's Shag in human form.
So he starts this by trying to bury Mr. Magoo alive. I feel like...
And somehow he warps out.
Yeah. And climbs on the mound. I just feel like he's so old. You just wait a couple of minutes.
He clips out.
He might die anyway. He clips out. Mr. Magoo finds himself at the top of an unfinished building. Somehow, he climbed all the way at the top without falling off. He is immortal. And the butler decides, I'm going to toss this steel beam at him, knock him off, and then kill him. That doesn't work.
Yes.
I don't remember most of what happens after that.
They build the stands somehow.
I don't know. He just wanders around the place. The guy tries to kill him. He doesn't. Then he ends up in a baseball field.
He finishes the baseball.
Basically, every time he fails, he basically helps him build a piece of the baseball field.
See, that I didn't notice.
Well, he built the mound by trying to bury him.
See, that's actually kind of clever.
Yeah.
But Mr. Magoo decided, you know what? I'm not on this team, but I'm going to be the umpire.
Yes.
And he can't see. And it turns out he's kind of deaf, too. Because when everyone's booing him, he thinks they're saying Magoo.
Yes.
Now he's blind and deaf.
He just does not have any senses to him. Like
He's like Daredevil's worst nightmare.
we will see this show up in later episodes. By the way,
His
Yeah.
deafness.
yes.
Like it's kind of cool that there's a character that's both blind and deaf, but he's so optimistic about life,
Yeah.
and he's wealthy. But you can't just let this man do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He needs help,
Honestly.
and he has help, but his help isn't helpful. We will get to that.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Magoo.
So we got the third episode.
This
That's
one.
called Thin Skin Diver.
This one's about his nephew.
Is that what this is about? Because I didn't know who these people were.
Yeah.
His nephew Waldo.
I do not like the nephew Waldo because he's an idiot. He's like, why won't this blanket get down on the sand? I don't know why he gave him a southern accent. And there's a book there, and I'm just like, why didn't you notice that book at first?
Yeah.
And his accent throughout the whole thing makes me just want to punch him.
And also, when they said Waldo, I was expecting red cap, just Waldo.
Well, for me, it's like they have Prez and Waldo.
Mm-hmm.
They take up most of the cartoon, and it's like Ed and Eddie.
Yeah.
That's who they are. They're like the original Ed and Eddie.
And no other Eddie. I mean, other Ed.
There's no Double D.
Eh.
If you want Double D's, you gotta go look at Gaia and Captain Planet.
Those are pretty saggy.
She's old. Leave her alone.
She's centuries old, right?
I did not like this. Well, that's okay. I did not like most of this short because one, Prez is too busy narrating it, so it's a lot of telling and not a lot of showing. And then what they had to show didn't interest me. It was very boring. Like I said, it's very tame.
It was very the gags were all predictable. Like, you saw where they were going with every single one.
Yeah. And it's not like in Hillbilly Bears, where Paul was getting in a war with his catfish.
Mm-hmm. Where they pull out the most ridiculous things possible. These are your very standard hammerhead shark, swordfish, octopus.
And he has a button for all of them.
Yes, and an electric eel. Like, those were the animals featured.
The whale ate, and then...
you can't leave the whales out.
Oh,
his name is T.
Can't
Well.
leave the whales out.
Sorry, and then the whale literally becomes a billboard for them.
The only thing I liked about this was the ending. And I did kind of call it. I kind of figured, because it's Mr. Magoo's show. Yeah. He's got to be in it. But it's still... I still thought it was funny.
It was okay. It was like... I would have liked to see the cartoon that ends up...
Led up to it?
Yeah. It would have made a better cartoon, honestly.
Well, I think in my imagination, I think someone just got tired of Magoo, put him in that closet, and dumped him at the bottom of the ocean.
How long would he have to have been there?
He's immortal!
Okay. But, honestly, I think I called every single one of these gags. Maybe not what they did to the octopus, but that was just kind of out of left field.
I mean, on the one hand, I do believe this is the worst episode of the ones that we saw.
Yeah, honestly, I can agree with you there.
But I did like the ending.
T-Wales, what do you think?
I like the ending. I like that it came out of nowhere. I hate his nephew's accent so much.
Yeah. No, we can agree that we just hate this, like,
character.
All of the characters in here other than Mr. Magoo in this episode. I do kind of like Mr. Magoo's mother that we meet later on.
Yes, in the next episode, actually. And like I said, they are introducing us to these characters.
As I said.
At first, this is uncle, then this is nephews, now it's his mom.
Oh, I thought that was actually the last episode on the list, so that's why I felt like I was not segueing.
Nope.
Okay.
It is the next episode.
Okay.
The next episode, Mother's Little Helper. And you have Magoo's mom, and I believe we already mentioned this, but how is she still alive?
Yeah.
Magoo's like 70, and she's like 200.
Methuselah.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand how this family could be so old.
Yeah.
What if Mr. Magoo is actually 20?
No.
They just look old when they're born.
No. They're old money.
That's the answer.
Yeah, they're old money.
So his mom, this is the most surprising thing about it.
He's not
His mom can
blind
see and hear.
and is conscious of what she is doing and knows
No.
Magoo is.
She is conscious of what she's doing, and she's a complete. If she was in any other show, she would be the completely badass grandmother.
True. What she wants to do is she's got this real nice car. She wants to go racing
Street
on it.
racing.
No.
Yes.
Not street racing, actual racing cup stuff.
Because she wants that money.
Yeah.
That's how they make that old money.
Yeah.
She wants that old money and that new money.
Yes. Yeah, but she's apparently a champion racer with this awesome hot rod.
And you know this because she tells you this. And on this episode, I realized, both Magoo and his mom have the strange compulsion to talk to the audience who aren't technically there, so you can add delirium to Magoo's symptoms. You also find out that Mr. Magoo's first name is Quincy.
He's definitely old money with a name like that.
Or maybe. You know what? I'm not even going to make a Bleach reference. You can just fill that in yourself.
Oh, let's not bring Bleach in, because I'm still reading it for some strange reason.
Because you hate yourself.
I hate myself so much.
It makes me appreciate Naruto. That's why Bleach exists. It makes you appreciate Naruto.
So, Mr. Magoo, he decides to visit his mom. He goes in there. His mom's working on this car, about to upgrade it, about to make it go vroom vroom. Mr. Magoo thinks he can do a better job because he's a man, and this is a man's society.
Well,
so he's going to fix his car.
The other thing is, he thinks it's a washing machine.
That's also true. And he somehow turns the car on from the engine.
Yes.
What? So, the car's speeding. They're both on the car.
Mm-hmm.
None of them seem to have a problem holding on to it or anything.
Yeah.
The Magoos got rich because they invented gravity boots. And that would explain not just what goes on here, but what came before, like the construction site stuff. The car's just going at whatever speed. Mr. Magoo thinks it's a laundry machine. He's trying to wash clothes up there.
Mm-hmm.
They drive into a pond full of ducks.
Actually, I like this gag. First they drive into clotheslines, where he gets clothes, and then throws them, quote unquote, throws them in, right? And then drives...
Where they get destroyed.
Yes. And then drives into the ducks, which he thinks is just freshly laundered clothes. Which is kind of a smart gag. It's at least an entertaining one.
See, you're thinking about it from the wrong perspective. Now, you need to look at it from my perspective.
Okay.
Mr. Magoo is molesting these ducks. And
especially,
molesting these ducks...
Especially that underage duck.
Yeah, that underage duck. And the duck actually looked like he was starting to enjoy it. Until the older duck's like, whoa, nuh-uh. What is going on here? And bites Mr. Magoo's hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you look at it in that context... There's nothing funny about molestation, Stray.
I'm sorry. I was looking at it as a cartoon and not putting logic into it because this is Mr. Magoo. Like, at least with Captain Planet, the reason I was putting logic into it was, hey, this is at least set in the real world. This is not real. This is definitely a cartoon.
Cartoon logic.
Yeah.
Oh. This is the only gag that had it was memorable at all to me. So, That's something.
Mm-hmm.
You have anything else to say before we get to the ending?
Not really.
So they go back to his mom's house. He finds the actual laundry machine. How do you mistake a car for a laundry machine, though?
It has an
I don't
engine.
care how blind you are.
It has an engine.
Because to Mr. Magoo, it is completely impossible that his mom will have a vehicular car
Yes.
in her house. So it obviously has to be a laundry machine because she's a woman.
Yeah. And then he takes her out for a short ride.
In a car because she doesn't know how to drive because she's a woman.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's like, "Don't go too fast, Mr. Magoo. You know I get stomach sick if you drive too fast."
And in her
Mr. Magoo's
mind,
like,
she's actually thinking, this old ass motherfucker needs to start putting the pedal to the metal.
you know, I'm thinking like, you know what would have been so epic if Mr. Magoo was a character in Crazy Taxi.
That would be hilarious.
That you gotta play as?
Yes.
So the
It makes
screen,
so much
the
sense.
screen is just blobs and blurs. All you see is your taxi.
And,
Like, how does this man have a driver's license still?
and no,
Well,
you
look at his car.
Also, you
His
see
first car ever.
and also those blurs and blobs. Sometimes you'll just see green in it, and you'll think it's just people hiring you. No, it's just you running over animals.
I'm pretty sure he does that anyway.
Yes.
That's what he calls a Sunday. So now we get to something extra special.
Something really close to home, sir. Oh wait. No.
You remember when we were talking about Haji?
Yeah.
Whether or not he was
Hold
like
on.
a
Before we
stereotype.
go further. Stray? I didn't hear an L.
Very sure.
Well, turns out on the next episode, The Day at the Beach, Mr. Magoo has a servant.
Two.
Only one.
Named
Only one.
Charlie.
Fan
Charlie.
and Charlie.
Oh, all right. I think that was just Charlie.
Because you only see, because I thought he had two. One of them was Fan, and the other had Charlie.
He was using a fan.
So he was using Charlie as
he
Fan.
was using. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was
yes,
confused.
sure. Sorry, I'm not going to keep that accent up.
Now I will. Let's
part
just
of
get
the
this out of the
episode.
way right now. Charlie is a horrible Asian stereotype. Chinese specifically. He's trying to be the buck teeth, ponytail. He wears like that hat. I forgot what it's called now.
Yeah. He has white
as
skin,
you know,
red little cheeks.
Yeah, no, he has white skin. And all right, and he apparently has triple buck teeth.
Yes, and
he does.
And he has this horrible accent I was trying to imitate earlier.
Now, let's talk about the accent right now. In Asian languages, they have trouble pronouncing L's, so their L's sound like R's.
He has trouble pronouncing everything.
Charlie puts an L in front of as the second letter in pretty much every word he says.
He does.
And also, he has really hard troubles with S's apparently.
Like boss? That's boss.
Boss. Hey boss.
Hey boss. Boss.
Like I can't even talk about him.
Honestly, Charlie has the hardest job ever.
Well, yeah, he does. You gotta respect that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Also, Mr. Magoo can't tell cats from dogs.
No, he has a cat named Bowser.
Which he thinks is a dog.
And he thinks it's a dog. And the cat doesn't care about Mr. Magoo at all. The cat and Charlie got this thing. They got this bond. They're in it together.
Yeah.
Because they're suffering.
Yes.
Misery loves company.
And you know Charlie must be getting paid. He must be getting paid a lot of money.
To keep this job? Yeah.
Of course. $2 whole.
And okay, so since it's a really hot day out.
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Magoo decides
doesn't have an actual freaking fan and instead has Charlie be his fan.
Yes. So they decide, hey, the beach is cooler apparently. For some strange odd reason.
Yes,
the beach is cooler.
People always think that.
30 degrees cooler
Than the house. For some
Yeah.
odd reason, because Seabreeze does that, right, guys?
That's very popular logic, though.
Yes.
Well,
So-
the water's cold and the breeze is there, so it cools you down. But that's the only logic of the beach.
Yes. But honestly, have you seen beaches?
Yes,
Oh wait, I didn't mean it like that.
and
I
we've
don't mean
also
it-
seen the movie Beaches.
I didn't
Stray.
not
T.
catch
Wells
that.
is a whale. He knows beaches better than anybody.
Of course, I've put some people ashore.
Oh. Did they owe you money? Did they owe you plankton? What
The
did
ones
they
that came back wanted to never make me mad again.
owe you?
Oh, he's a killer whale.
Yes.
No,
All right, so instead of going to the beach, they end up at another construction site. That
They end
remind
up
you of
at a
the
gravel
first episode,
sand and gravel pit,
right?
which
But
I think is
this
an
is actually
amusement park.
he does think it's an amusement park. This is actually the opposite of the first episode. Well, not the first episode. This is the opposite of the second episode.
Yes.
Because here, you know, they're like a construction site that he thinks is an amusement park, but they're trying to save Mr. Magoo from himself instead of trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Mr. Magoo's servant instead of Uncle Magoo's servant.
And his servant is more just tortured by all of this shit.
Who wouldn't be?
Because he basically gets thrown into a cement mixer thinking it's, which Magoo thinks is a spinny ride. Teacups? I don't know. I honestly don't know what kind of ride he thinks that is. The closest one I can think of is the fucking teacups.
You're right with that. You're absolutely on point.
And honestly, and then do they skip to the railroad? No, they start with the drop, right?
Oh, from the crane?
Yes.
Yes, and then they go
Into
to the mine shaft. Not the mine shaft, but
the roller coaster, whatever.
yeah.
The minecart ride, basically.
And yeah,
And
they're on the crane, and Mr. Magoo's looking out from the edge of the crane. Charlie's like in the center of the crane,
yeah,
and the crane opens up. Wait a second, let's backpedal. There are people working at this construction
and they
site.
see them.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
don't
know
do
they're there.
But
anything.
see, here's what happened. Magoo paid a guy there.
Yeah.
Well, he's like, they paid him. Just let them do what they
Their
want.
lives.
He gave
But
me
he
$2,000 bills.
drops Charlie into a minecart. Minecart goes everywhere, into a building where Charlie gets spanked by a metal apparatus, and then gets tucked inside of a bag
Yes.
where they put all the cement that they mix.
It looks brown, actually.
Then I don't know what it is.
I think
Dirt?
it's like
Fertilizer?
gravel, I mean yellowish brown.
It's something.
It's sand, something industrial.
But that was actually my favorite
Actually,
sequence that we saw.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
yeah, honestly, it was entertaining to watch, at least.
And I think that, I kept saying this is too tame for me.
Mm-hmm.
They should do something more energetic, something crazier. This was it.
Yeah, because
So
once you go
I was
to
happy about that.
the next episode, the only funny thing about that was also the ending, actually, now that I think about it.
So to wrap this episode up, Charlie gets put on a truck,
Yes.
and they're about to drive him away, but Bowser the cat saves the day,
Yes.
and then Mr. Magoo gets pissed off.
Because
Mr. Magoo gets pissed off.
because Charlie, why did you ditch me?
I'll
Sorry.
never take you to the amusement park again. And Charlie's like, thank
you,
goodness.
thank you, Mr. Magoo.
Or should I say, thank goodness.
Blank goodness. Blank goodness.
And
Oh, it's terrible.
so basically, the cat and him are going to stay home all the time now,
So you'd think.
except this time, where Mr. Magoo tries taking Charlie to a bowling alley.
Well, Charlie tries taking Mr. Magoo to a bowling alley.
Well, Mr.
The next episode's
Magoo wants to
Go to a bowling alley. The next episode is called 10 Strikes Magoo.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the return of Charlie.
Yes.
Because he was so nice, you have to use him twice. He wants to go bowling, Magoo, but he ends up at a bowling company. And
Why?
I believe that this is all Charlie's fault, because when Charlie left the car, he brought the bowling ball with him. He knew better.
No, but he was trying to point Mr. Magoo in the right direction.
He didn't want to be sent back to China to his little village.
Yeah. Honestly, who puts a bottling company right beside a bowling alley?
Exactly. Even more
Who put the
so,
bowling
why
alley
is
right
there?
next to a bowling
Even more
company?
so, who let him in? Why is there only one man working there? And how did no one hear all the breaking bottles until that one guy found Charlie?
You know what? I had the same question.
Yes.
Like, you're just gonna ignore all of that until you
And
find Charlie?
most of this episode consisted of Charlie trying to stop Mr. Magoo.
And getting beaten up for it.
Yes.
There's also some scenes of, bottles breaking,
Yeah.
but they're very similar to each other.
Yeah, like, honestly, we can skip to the end of this episode pretty damn quick.
Well, the end is actually kind of complicated because in the middle of this episode, they introduce a police officer that you don't see until the end.
Yes.
Because Charlie parked next to one of those fire hydrants that Magoo likes so much.
Yes.
And the police officer does not like that, so he starts writing a ticket. And then we go back inside of the bottle company.
Yes. Where Magoo's breaking more and more bottles, and I think at that point...
The guy that works there is adding up the cost.
The
for all the
only
bottles.
guy that works there.
And he's basically, okay, why does he want $5,000 or $500 or whatever the place is offering him?
It's $500
Okay.
if he wins.
Yeah.
I think he just wants to win.
He thinks he's in a bowling alley where if he scores like so many strikes, you get win $500.
Well, I just forgot the amount. If you roll a perfect game.
Yeah, something like that. You get a certain amount of money.
So he thinks the guy's tallying up his score where he's tallying up his cost. And he's just like, no, that was like 8 strikes, so it's how much?
270.
270. 8 or 9? I forget.
It was 9 strikes.
9 strikes is 270. I don't play bowling that often, so.
I do, but I don't pay attention to the score. So at the end, and this is probably the best gag
this is probably
in this episode.
This is one of my favorite gags.
Mr. Magoo goes outside. The police officer gives him a ticket for parking next to the fire hydrant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the manager of the bottling plant is pissed off at Charlie because, he needs to get paid for all these bottles. So Charlie goes up to Mr. Magoo and says, hey, that guy needs to get paid. Mr. Magoo's like, okay, here, take him this check. So Charlie ends up giving the man the ticket for the parking ticket for the car. And then they drive away into the sunset.
That's honestly kind of funny.
It is. Mr. Magoo. What can I say? Here's an interesting thing. When I was a kid and we watched the older cartoons, like Rocky and Bullwinkle level stuff, I never saw Mr. Magoo, to be honest.
Me neither.
I knew who he was, I've heard of him, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I've never seen this, and
I saw the only reason I know Mr. Magoo exists and I know about him is because of the Christmas Carol episode.
I think I've seen that.
That is kind of famous.
Like that's my first exposure and pretty much my only exposure until this.
Yeah, I think I've seen the Christmas Carol at least.
Oh no, wait, never mind. There was a movie in the 90s.
I was not going to mention the movie because don't mention that movie.
I never watched it, but I know it exists. I know it was a thing that happened.
I've seen part of it, and it is exactly what you expect. It's a Disney-fied version of Mr. Magoo.
With a kid as the protagonist, I'm going to assume, right?
As the protagonist?
Is there a young child as the protagonist of this movie?
All I remember is Leslie Nelson as Mr. Magoo.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that, Mr. Like, I didn't put the 2 and 2 together, but yeah, I've definitely seen Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. It's just something you show to the kids, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol is the filler of Christmas movies. I did not enjoy Mr. Magoo. I enjoyed Captain Planet more.
Yeah.
I enjoyed everything I've seen more.
I did not enjoy Captain Planet more. At least I got through this in the same time it would have taken me to watch a Captain Planet episode. That's honestly how I justified watching all 6 episodes.
In perspective, like, Captain Planet's stupid, but it's an interesting kind of stupid.
At least...
And Mr. Magoo is mostly boring for me. And like I said, we have so much coming down the line from, we have some from Looney Tunes, Disney, and Hanna-Barbera.
We cut out all that discussion because of something destroyed. Something got destroyed, right?
Yeah. But, and I've seen a lot of that stuff, and that's so...
We've also...
If it's not funny, it is at least energetic.
Yes.
And this definitely didn't have energy for me. This is like a cartoon that old people would watch, which might be why there's so many old people inside.
Maybe. Honestly...
I bet this DVD smell like mothballs.
Honestly, I'm not that... I don't hate Mr. Magoo. I would do... Because each short is like 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, I can get through an episode pretty damn quick. If I had to watch, what would it be? 6 times 3 would be 18 shorts in a row. Yeah, no, I'm going to probably shoot myself for trying that, but 6 shorts in a row? That's fine.
But it's... There are other shows, right?
There are better shows.
That are 5 minutes long, that are better. Like Hillbilly Bear.
Actually, yeah, I would watch Hillbilly Bears over this.
And it's just... There's no reason to watch this for real.
Yeah.
You know that in your heart of hearts.
Unless you're reviewing old cartoons like us, or trying to look smart.
You're not gonna look smart by saying... I said watch Mr. Magoo for 2 hours.
Yeah. But if you want to basically have old cartoony knowledge, I guess, but seriously, there's nothing original. Well, it might have been original at the time. I don't know the timeline for these gags, right? It might have been original for its time, but...
It came out in the 1960s.
Yeah, pretty original for its time then. But, honestly, nowadays, you've got so many better options, and there's better ways to spend your time nowadays. Back in the day, basically, if you could watch this would have been probably more entertaining, right?
Look, back in the day, this was fighting it out with Looney Tunes and Disney and Yogi Bear, and they could not win.
They could not win then. I forget how long ago. Like, I forgot the time scale of things like Disney and Hanna-Barbera stretched
all of human history.
Okay.
This show is not a show I would ever consciously want to watch. Like, it's a time waster, but it's not anything like I want to watch. I think when I watch shows, I like to get a little bit invested, and this show is like the same gag over and over and over and over
in different situations.
In different situations, and it's like, I get it, but like, no one questions it. This is one of those cartoon worlds where like logic is thrown out the window, and like, why is this person able to get away with this? Like, in Looney Tunes, like, they're animals. They're out like in farmlands or like World War II or Civil War. They're traveling through time and crap.
Yeah,
like,
but here's the thing you have to remember also. Logic in cartoons has only started slowly existing past the turn of the century.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying, like, as Snippy was saying, like, you had like Hanna-Barbera and Disney to contend with, and they did a better job.
Yes.
did a much better job keeping you entertained.
Yes. I'm not going to argue that. No one can argue that.
I guess people that like watched this back in the day might have some nostalgia towards it, but it's just not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea.
You know, someone told me that like 10 episodes later, they introduced a black servant named Hoppo with like big old pink lips and
I
stuff.
wouldn't be surprised.
I'd
watch
surprised.
it.
I could tell you that, but I would
just
be
to see
lying.
how bad it is. Clarification.
I would tell you that, but I would be lying.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our show. We hope you enjoyed it. Next time, you know, I don't like to tell you what we're going to do next, but I will say that it has have something to do with an Adult Swim show, maybe?
Oh, okay. I know what we're doing. The moment you said that, I knew what it was.
All right.
And the rest of you will too if you watched Adult Swim back in the day.
Anyway, so did I already say thank you? I think I did, but thank you again. And I'll say thank you a third time. Straight say thank you.
Thank you?
Okay, that's good enough for me. Goodbye, everybody.